Okay, and we are back on schedule. Please help me welcome to the stage Martin Leinweber, I can say that, excuse me, of MarketVector Indexes, who's going to host this Fireside chat, Indexing Crypto, a Fireside on Coinbase 50, market structure, and what's next. Please help me welcome him to the stage.
Thank you. Is it working?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Good afternoon. I see you're afraid of indexing. It's normally a nerdy topic, but I can promise you it's packed with information today. Together we want to explore the question about what could be the S&P 500 in crypto and why is it important. You know, in TradFi we have all established standards. We know how to measure performance, how to construct portfolios, yet in crypto we have no standard. Yeah, we have a fragmented market, we have fragmented liquidity, and especially investors don't know how to diversify. I'm glad that I don't have to do that alone today, so I have two experts with me. So maybe you introduce yourself and then we do the deep dive into the topic.
Yep, absolutely, happy to start. Thank you for having me, really thrilled to be here. My name is Lucy Taylor and I'm from Coinbase, based in London. My role is, I have a dual role actually, so I look after institutional sales for the Swiss market, but I also am leading on introducing broker clients, which we call crypto as a service. Short background on me, have been with Coinbase for almost 4 years, joined at the peak of the last bull market in November 2021. And before that, I was in investment banking, 10 years at UBS in Opficon here in Zurich, and around 5 years at HSBC in London, mostly in FX. Thanks for having me.
Hi, we're happy to be here. My name is Christopher and I'm the co-founder and CEO on Virtune. Virtune is a Swedish-based regulated digital asset manager and an issuer of exchange-traded products that are listed on stock exchanges across Europe, which is Nasdaq Stockholm, Nasdaq Helsinki, Euronext Amsterdam and Paris, and also Deutsche Börse. We've been in the market for approximately 2 years now, and we manage around $360 million in assets under management and have more than 140,000 investors into our products. And we are on a mission to push the crypto adoption forward in the European financial markets, especially in the form of crypto as an asset class to integrate into traditional portfolios.
Yeah, maybe just 2 words to MarketVector. So we are an index administrator. We're doing digital asset indexes coming from the TradFi side, thematic equity indexes. But we're doing digital asset indexes since 8 years now, and we are also the administrator of the Coinbase 50, and I think all 3 of us have a very different perspective on this thing today. Lucy, when we start your journey, or the Coinbase journey of entering the index business, why did you do that? And maybe you can shed some light on why the Coin 50?
Absolutely. So I think if we're all aware of the evolving developments and adoption in the crypto economy, and it was really sort of like investor demand to have a transparent and reliable index, right? So allowing investors to get access to crypto exposure via an index. Maybe they can't actually physically hold the crypto, so they can actually invest into an ETP kind of index product and get that exposure. So we saw that definitely there was an opportunity for that kind of product, and we're thrilled to be partnering with MarketVector and also Virtune on the Coin 50 product.
So Christopher, I mean, you bring the index to life in a certain sense in the ETP, and I know you have a lot of single token ETPs, and you're already familiar with basket solutions. What was your argument to start this super broad index?
Yeah, and we're very happy to finally be live with the first Coinbase 50 ETP in the world. And I would say that to answer that question, I would say that we should go back and look at the TradFi, where we were established indices like S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 that are well known as global and trusted benchmarks. And I think as you touched base on, that is something that we don't have in the crypto market yet. And what we're seeing is that the crypto market continues to evolve, and all different emerging areas such as tokenizations, blockchains that are huge within stable coins, and other areas where there are lots of movements, that the investment demand and interest within these areas are growing. So we certainly see that there is that the direction we need to go is that there will, in the future, be well-established indices that can be seen as the corresponding index to S&P 500, for example, and we believe that the Coin 50 index certainly has the possibility to become that type of index for the crypto industry in its whole. And I would say what differs the Coin 50, because there are many crypto indices already, both in Europe but also globally. But the most of the indices across Europe are usually capped to 5 or 10 crypto assets. So I think one very important component of the Coin 50 making it special is the fact that it includes up to 50 crypto assets. And what that means is that you ensure that you gain exposure to, of course, store of value in the form of Bitcoin that represents 50% of the index, but also to all different emerging areas within crypto, such as DeFi, tokenization, smart contract platforms, etc., in the same product. And if you compare that to a top 10 index, for example, which there are plenty of across Europe, you usually, if you instead have a top 50 index, that is also an opportunity to catch the rising stars in an early phase, because when they enter the top 10, they have usually done a very, very good run. So that is a possibility to gain a better exposure to that extent, and also that the index is being rebalanced every quarter, so the constituents will always change over time along with how the market is developing.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of people underestimate how large the rotation is even within the top 10, but even more within top 50. Yeah, so that can't be just a static basket. So this quarterly rebalancing definitely helps. What people also don't know is how restrictive the environment maybe is to an index. And so if you design an index, infrastructure, for example, the custodians on all other service providers are pretty important. I think that was also a point for the Coin 50, correct?
Absolutely. We actually welcomed the complexity of this product because, as you say, there's lots of moving parts in terms of trading, custody, and we feel that the Coinbase infrastructure is perfectly designed to facilitate this product in terms of being, a trusted and secured custodian. It's very well known that we're actually the major custodian for 9 out of the 11 Bitcoin spot ETFs and 8 out of the 9 ETH ETFs. So we have a very strong track record, around 13 plus years of servicing clients in this way. And just to explain a little bit about Coinbase Prime, which is the product that is supporting the Coin 50, there are 3 main pillars. So the first is trading, where clients can access our multi-venue execution. We act on an agency-only basis via accessing liquidity via a smart order router. The second is the cold storage custody, which is incredibly important in the crypto space. We actually, as of our last shareholder letter, Q4 24, we had $220 billion of assets under custody from institutions alone. So I think that's quite an important figure to kind of mention. And also from a trading perspective, in Q4 24, it was around 356 billion of institutional trading volume. So just to kind of give a sense of the size and the scale of assets that we custody for our clients.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one part which restricts the components of an index, right? What can be in the index. I think there's also what's interesting, these additional fundamental filters you have where you look at the blockchain architecture. Yeah. Was there security hack, smart contract hack? Or I think maybe the most important part is even the token design, right? Where, for example, these low float, high FTV token are getting filtered out. Yeah, so free float is also a consideration. So and I think that's a lifesaver. And together with these restrictions, people are always surprised. I see that on X, for example, why this token or the other token is not in the index. They look at the coin market top 50, and I have to say that's not just a plain vanilla coin market cap top 50 index. Yeah, it's really more. It's these infrastructure considerations, but also these fundamental filters applied on top of that. So, and I think, Christopher, for you, how important was the infrastructure support for this
I think
index?
it was very important because our ambition and mission with this newly listed ETP is to target all sorts of investors. So both retail investors, whether you're an experienced crypto investor or new in investing into crypto assets, but also financial advisors, fund managers, family offices, etc. So I think the fundamental criteria and how assets are actually selected to become eligible for the index is very important here, where the universe is restricted to the coins that are approved by Coinbase as a global crypto exchange, which means that every asset has gone through rigorous due diligence and qualification processes. And on the top of that, Virtune as an asset manager is also using Coinbase, of course, for the custody and trading of the underlying assets.
Let's come to the regulation, because I think what people don't know, and Switzerland is of course a different thing, but when we talk about the EU, everybody has in mind one market. It's easy to list, but if you're honest, that's by far not the case, right? So etc. has different rules than Euronext. I mean, you're coming from Scandinavia, you have Nasdaq Stockholm. Then also I think you have certain service provider restrictions. So maybe you can tell how difficult it is and also how expensive it is to do that. Because people are always comparing that to the US market and wonder why the US market is cheaper. But I have to say, with these kind of restrictions, we can't be cheaper than the US market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important to be aware of if you compare the European market. And if I'm not mistaken, if we look at the TradFi industry, the average ETF in Europe has around double the fee compared to an ETF in the US. And that's the problem with the European financial market. For us as a company offering regulated exchange traded products, that means that we have 1 foot in the crypto market and 1 foot in the traditional financial market. And if we look at, as you mentioned, on all the stock exchanges across Europe, for example, Deutsche Börse in Frankfurt, London Stock Exchange, Euronext Amsterdam, Paris, etc., all of these exchanges have their own crypto frameworks, meaning that they usually have a certain universe of coins that are allowed to serve as the underlying assets. So that means that for an index crypto product like the Coin50 ETP, it needs to comply with all the exchanges where the product will be listed. That makes it a lot more complicated. On the other side, the European market is also fragmented in the way that each market has their own central securities depository, their own regulator. So there are many things to take into consideration, which also makes it quite more tricky to expand the distribution for this kind of product compared to the US market, where you can list on New York Stock Exchange and then you get distribution capabilities to the whole US market. And on top of that, another part to be aware of, if we look at our Coin50 ETP that was listed now this week, it actually includes 21 crypto assets and not 50 from inception. And the reason for this is because of restrictions from regulators, stock exchanges, but also that the underlying assets needs to be supported by the market makers that is ensuring daily liquidity to the products, where these market makers such as or authorized participants like Jane Street and flow traders are highly regulated entities and need to do rigorous due diligence on each crypto asset. So with that said, we are planning to expand this product to have it distribution capabilities in as many European markets as possible. But it also means that the number of constituents or assets in the product will grow from 21 towards 50 over time. And the product is being rebalanced every quarter, and that is on these occasions when new crypto assets can be included into the product.
What we should also mention when it comes to regulation, we not only have an ETP here on the Coin50, but you also do a perpetual swap, right? And that's just on the Coinbase International Exchange, not in the US, right? So that's restricted. What do you see in terms of your perpetual swap? How accepted is that? And also what I'm interested in, how do the market maker react? Do they like that? Or do you still think it's a niche in the perpetual swap market?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, we have the Coinbase International Exchange. It was launched in May 2023. It's a Bermuda regulated exchange offering perpetual futures. And what's interesting to note here is that, maybe many of you know this, but the derivatives market accounts for around 75% of the crypto space. So it's a huge amount of volume and market share. So you're absolutely right. We do offer the Coin 50 on the international exchange, and that is available for advanced traders and also institutional clients on on a eligible basis in terms of the jurisdiction that they sit in. It's still an evolving product, but we are definitely seeing uptick and interest and appetite from clients there. To answer your question around market makers, I think that this is definitely a developing product, but there is continual growth in volume and definitely appetite from those market participants.
Do you know who is trading that? Is it mainly retail or also hedge funds?
It's a mixture of both.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's the retail elements. There's also the buy side and market makers as well.
Regarding your ETP, what do you think? Is that well suited also for the retailer only, or is it more for the wealth manager, private banker, family office? What would you say?
We are convinced that this index product, the Coin 50 ETP, will be suitable for more or less all form of investors. So if we look at the retail investor side, the initial reception and feedback we have received, if that's where experienced crypto investors will also see this as a suitable product, since you gain a wide exposure and a sophisticated methodology that backs the index in one and the same product. But on the same time, we as a company, we are on a mission to push the crypto adoption forward and work towards making crypto as an asset class included into everyone's portfolio one day. So I think also that this index ETP serves as a very good onboard ramp for having new investors invest into crypto the first time.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I totally agree. The way we view this as well is it's really about adoption in the crypto economy, and we don't see it as like just an index for traders. We see this as a widely adopted product for all clients, whether it be retail or institutional.
Yeah, and if we look at from the more professional portfolio management perspective, and we at Virtune, we are out every week meeting with the different kind of portfolio managers, banks, etc., where in general the knowledge around crypto as an asset class, of course, it's different in different markets, but our overall impression is that the general knowledge around crypto assets are still very low for those working in TradFi. There might be some basic knowledge around Bitcoin, but when you move beyond that, the knowledge level is still very, very low. So these products can handle that in a good way, and also from a professional portfolio manager perspective, they want to see what purpose can this product fit into a portfolio. And if we, for example, look at the Sharpe ratio, we can also see that historically the Sharpe ratio has actually been higher for the Coin 50 compared to Bitcoin, which means that adding the Coin 50 ETP to let's say 5% of a total portfolio's allocation will actually provide a better risk-adjusted return compared to adding 5% of Bitcoin. And I think that is a factor that is very important for professional portfolio managers, and also that in general, if you are a portfolio manager, you tend to like diversification. And in crypto, obviously, that historically has not worked as in TradFi, because usually you get more volatility the smaller the coin is. But this is still a way to diversify, and institutional investors tend to prefer that in many times.
I mean, what helps is that you still have 50% Bitcoin in the index, and don't avoid that completely. Yeah, we see that also. If you look at pure altcoin indexes, they are completely destroyed. So it has definitely to have Bitcoin as an anchor. Lucy, what do you see in terms of vision you have for Coin 50 or Coinbase has? Is that the go-to benchmark for every country, or do you see more specific differences in indexes? I don't know if you can talk about the US. Because you're covering the Swiss market, but just interested to hear what the strategy is here.
Absolutely. So, as mentioned before, we really see this as a product that will be adopted by all types of clients, whether it be retail, institutional, and we definitely see the further adoption, the growth of the index, as you mentioned, Christopher. You're going live with 21, but you're targeting to increase that as time goes on. So to get to the 50, and then as we discussed as well, like branching out into further products such as derivatives, depending on if that's an eligible jurisdiction that client is in. So that's I think that we see this as a global index for all clients to get exposure to crypto via an index, which is vital really for clients to have that appetite.
And what about you? Do you think this thing will be your flagship product, or is it still Bitcoin, and then if you have a more sophisticated client base, you offer the Coin 50? So how do you approach that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And if we look at the statistics year to date in the European financial markets across all exchange traded products within crypto, we can see that the trend is still that investors tend to prefer investing into single asset exchange traded products like a Bitcoin ETP or an Ethereum ETP rather than index products. But we are very confident that this will over time change as the crypto market matures and you want to find sophisticated investment strategies that you can invest into. So to answer your question, we are certainly seeing this new product as our new flagship product, and we will be working very intensively with the regulators, stock exchanges, and market makers, among others, to push towards making the index expand towards the 50 assets one day. And on top of that, we will also be having this product and bring this product in front of various kind of institutions, retail investors. We will do various roadshows in several markets in the upcoming months to promote this index, and I think it requires also, to some extent, a lot of education for the general investor, because we should remember that the average TradFi investors that might not invest into crypto before, crypto tends to become very complicated quickly as you start talking about different kind of segments in the crypto market and altcoins, etc. So we are on a mission to do this in a pedagogic way and have our product as a way to onboard new investors into the crypto market and make crypto assets a legitimate asset class across Europe.
Yeah, I agree. So the temptation to always buy the latest thing in crypto and then underperforming is pretty high. I just have to look at my own wallet. Yeah, so I also underperformed the Coin 50. So just a disclaimer here. Yeah, we have, I think, 2 minutes left. Are there any questions? Any questions on how to structure a portfolio or how to add that? Or we can do a live buy session here. Yeah. It's the criteria. It's pretty simple. So it has to fulfill, as Lucy said, these Coinbase restrictions. Yeah. So as we also target institutional investors, yeah, it has to be able to be under Coinbase custody, traded on a Coinbase exchange. But then we have this additional fundamental filter, just to give you perspective. So we start with a universe of 250 plus. And after implementing everything and the token design, security, blockchain design, etc., maybe 100 are left. And then out of this 100, we select the top 50 Coinbase universe, right? So it's, as I said, don't compare that with the crap on CoinMarketCap. Sorry for saying that, but it's really not very well designed. Yeah, so they don't consider any liquidity considerations or security considerations. It's just by market cap. And liquidity, of course, plays also a role. So it's really for institutions like ETP issuers, yeah, that they can do a product on it.
Yeah. And just to fill in one last thing there that I think is important also to be aware of, and why that is an important benefit of investing in a wide index like the Coin 50 is that, first of all, that you can catch the rising stars in an early phase. But also, if you look historically, The coins that are becoming among the top 100 on a market cap basis, historically only 23% of the coins entering the top 100 has stayed among the top 100. And that just shows how hard it is to pick the right tokens to invest into if you're going to the smaller mid caps, and why a dynamic index that is being rebalanced quarterly, where the constituents is changing on a continuous basis, what value that actually brings to your investments.
So time is over. Thank you very much. I hope you found it interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.